What is up, everyone? All right, today we're working on the Pro car. This is an exciting day because this is the last major piece of the car. I've said that like 40 times. But with a build like this, I feel like it's never ending. But this is the last piece of the puzzle until I feel comfortable to actually get this thing on the dyno, which is huge because once it's dyno, then it's set up, and then it's test, and it all unfolds from there. A couple small bits here and there. We'll talk about that, but this is the last major piece within the engine bay. What is that we're talking about? Well, that is the power steering system. So when it comes to a Pro car, we need something that could take major abuse that is tried and true. And well, I tried to make my life simple, not making my life simple, and I tried to use a mechanical JZ pump. The JZ pumps are usually pretty stout. They worked for people in the past, but they're not the end-all be-all option. But I was like, let me use this to get the car together, and guess what? The first time we started the car, power steering pump blew out, and guess what? I took that as a sign from the universe telling me to just nut up and do what everyone's doing these days and go electric power steering. Electric power steering.
The part of the future.
The part of the future. As you guys might realize, a lot of people are now converting to electric power steering. It's not new. It's not new tech. People have been using it for years, but now we're in this wave where more people are switching over than ever. And when it comes to electric power steering, there's a million options. You guys have probably heard people talk about it. You probably have heard other influencers saying this pump, that pump, blah, 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 blah. But when it comes to picking out what works for you, it's very important. There's a million different ways to do it. There's a million reasons why you need it. Sometimes you want the reliability of the electric pump. Maybe you don't have the mounting for a mechanical pump on your car. Maybe a mechanical pump just is really hard to find for your engine, or maybe the mechanical pump just can't keep up with what you got. Especially if you're swapping, you're taking a pump from a Volkswagen trying to use it on a Nissan and vice versa. Sometimes things don't mesh, and that's where the electric power steering comes into effect. For me, the reasons why I want to switch to electric is for two big reasons. One, reliability and abuse, right? It's a Pro car. This will be getting a lot of crazy steering inputs, erratic steering inputs. The power steering system will take a lot of abuse, you'll see a lot of heat, and it's gonna be pushed to the limit. And well, the mechanical pumps, they're not an end-all be-all. The end-all be-all solution for mechanical pumps is either spend money on an aftermarket pump that's really expensive and need a spare, because you always need a spare, or have a bunch of spare JZ pumps laying around just in case, which are getting hard to find and can't keep up. So that's why we're gonna go to an option that has been proven to be reliable and to be a great solution, and that is electric power steering. Now, when it comes to picking your pump, this is really important because you guys will see, you see people talk about them all the time, the MR2 pump, the Porsche pump, the Volvo pump, the BMW pumps. Now, you can't just take a pump and just bolt it in, because you have to make sure that the pressure that these put out are adequate with your setup. Because the power steering rack itself is just in a hydraulic system. And the hydraulic systems are based around certain pressures. And now if you take pumps that don't have pressure that works well with your rack, you could have major issues. You could have, well, anything from a blown out seal to something that just can't keep up, which is huge. I think that's where I got deterred for a long time, is I drove a couple electric power steering cars where the pumps weren't tailored well to the rack and it didn't feel normal. Luckily, since so many people are switching to electric racks, it's pretty figured out. Especially with the drift car, it's a lot pickier. If you have a road car, you could probably get away with just any electric power steering rack, maybe, I don't know. With the drift cars, since the rack is taking so much abuse and it's at such a rapid rate, you really got to make sure you have the right system to work with you. So what I have here is I have 3 pumps, and I have 3 pumps, so I just wanted to show you guys there's different variances, right? So this is a Volvo pump, super common. I bought this forever ago when I did the K-swap. I thought I was going to use it, we ended up not using it. This is one of the most common pumps that you see in the market, right? They're the reservoir is built in, the whole unit kind of comes with the bracket. You have your powers, you have your controls, and you make it work, right? All in one unit, this big bulky thing, right? It's nice, shove it out of the way. This one I was really intrigued by. This was a Mini Cooper power steering pump. What I liked about this is the reservoir wasn't attached. So if you have an engine bay where you don't want this big bulky thing in, you could tuck this, put a reservoir somewhere, even in the bay, it might even just look normal, and then utilize this. We have a BMW rack, and with a BMW rack, they require greater pressures than the average power steering rack, so you need something that's gonna work with it. Luckily, a lot of people have already figured this out for us, and so we are using Europe's tried and true solution, and that is the Opal pump. Some guys consider it the GM pump, but the Opal pump. And obviously there's many other pumps out there that people utilize and that work and that are easy to get. The Hellcat pump, I guess, has been like really popular lately. I don't know, it's my first time doing this, so we'll see. But this, even though it is sold in Europe, it's really easy to get. So the guys down at Group D, as you guys know, Darren McNamara down at Group D, the mad scientist himself. This is his go-to pump. Also, it was always been James Dean's go-to pump, as long as they're familiar, and a lot of guys out in Ireland, they love this thing. You might think it's hard to get because it's sold in Europe, but you can literally buy this from Group D's website for cheaper than what you can buy like a Volvo pump on eBay for, which is pretty sick. You can't beat that. And then this one's super simple, right? Because we have the reservoir built on top. It's a tight-ish package. The mounting is on the bottom, we'll show you that, so it actually mounts a little bit cleaner. And the harness is very simple, right? We have a power, a ground, and then a 2-wire control. Today, we're gonna be retrofitting this pump in the Pro Car and making my life better. We'll say that. Now, when it comes to mounting the pumps, it could be a little tricky because they're kind of oddball shapes. And if you get them with the OEM mounting brackets, like the Volvo one, they're kind of ugly. And you want to rubber isolate them and stuff for vibration. It can be kind of a pain in the butt. But luckily, the Group D guys have it figured out, and they actually sell their own mounting bracket. So you could buy this straight from Group D with the pumps, which is huge. And so we have this bracket that essentially sits on the bottom like that, and then uses this piece to hold it in place. You guys will see. So it's actually very simplistic, and it allows you to eliminate all these crazy bulky mounting solutions right there. They also sell a cap, which is cool. I don't know why they never come with OEM caps, but this looks way cooler. See? Not bad. I think I have to use the OEM rubber bushing, which is nice, just with this big ass bushing, which comes with the pump. And then that will give us our little rubber isolation for the system, which is really nice. So then that clicks in right here. Look at that. Nice and easy. First step is removing my freshly finished power steering system. You ever heard the term just buy once, cry once?
Should have done that.
Yeah, I should have just cried once. What's really nice about this is I really want to clean up this side as much as we can, because there's a lot going on inside and it makes it very hard to work on, which we don't want. So being able to remove the power steering system all from here will give us a lot more workable room underneath and in front of the engine where basically everything is. So I'm actually stoked about this. I knew that was gonna happen. There we go. Save this for another build. There we go.
Goodbye.
Goodbye. There we go. So this is one of my favorite parts about this whole thing right now, is now we have room. I can get my hands in there, I can get to the sensor, I can get to oil filter. Before it was really tight, right? And a lot of these things you could plan for, but until it's all together, sometimes you just don't know. So now we have all this room in here. It makes things a lot less stressful, so that's a huge win. You know what I mean?
No!
I was ready for it.
Good catch. We've talked about this many times.
I don't know why I do that.
Let's bring the tools to you.
I don't know why I do that. It's like...
You end up getting so many steps in throughout the day.
That's it. That's how I keep this beautiful figure. Just leave the toolbox really far away.
I guess that's the cheat code, right?
So we actually have to remove everything on this side. The alternator bracket, the spec tune bracket that we had, only works with the water pump and power steering. Both of them are being converted to electric, but luckily I did all the provisions to go electric because I had a feeling I'd get to this point at one point. You know, I stayed JZ pump because it worked on Adam's European car. Actually, Adam's E36 was mechanical pump for a long time, so I was like, oh, let's just do something that we're familiar with and we have spares for. And so that being said, I did get the water pump conversion that allows us to put the alternator on its own tensioner on this side, so we can run just an alternator. So we're prepared for it. I just was hoping I would get a season or something out of mechanical pumps, but I don't know. Bad taste in my mouth already, so I'm not playing games with this thing. If anyone needs a spec tune relocation bracket, hit your boy up. There we go. So now we're gonna put this back in the factory location. It'll pivot on here, so we're able to actually mechanically tension the belt. And all we need is a short little belt that goes around this and the crank pulley. It actually simplifies things quite a bit, and we can actually get rid of the tensioner, which is really cool.
This one has like a reservoir, external, I would assume?
Yeah.
This one is all...
The wiring is just easy as skinny.
You got this from Darren?
Mr. Mac Mac Mayor. D-Mac, they call him. My uncle.
He always has like cool solutions to stuff.
For everything.
Yeah.
The door.
Yeah, he's like he's the perfect kind of nerd for
Mastermind.
shit
No, but he's
that
like
we're into.
He's
You know
like a
what I mean?
mad scientist,
Yeah.
though. Like, he has like an evil laugh. You know what I mean?
He is. You're always, when you're around him, you're like, does he have ulterior motives? He's gonna take over the world? Is that what's gonna? He's gonna start with this car, and next thing it's the world.
The hardest thing is like, Darren, you're like, man, I think this guy hates me.
The whole time.
And then like he'll crack a joke at you that's really on the line, and then you crack one back that's way over the line, and he's just like, that's my boy.
Don't drop it.
Yeah, not again. Nice. Even simpler. So I made a whole fuss about having more room on this side. I think we will still have more room on this side, but we're about to find out real quick. Hoping we were going to be able to put it on this side, but there's no configuration on the spec tune bracket that allows us to, so we have to do it.
That's still more room than.
Oh yeah, because now we can still get around. Before I couldn't even. I mean, you saw me trying to unbolt that power steering line. It was a nightmare. So this, at least I can get my arm in there, which is huge. So right here, that'd probably be the best. What's nice about it being on this side though is all our lines are gonna be really short. So we're gonna get all the fittings on to see where this actually lands. Now you're probably wondering, how do I hook this up to my power steering system? So with the power steering system, you have a low pressure return from the rack, and you have a high pressure feed, right? You need the high pressure that's actually hydraulic force, and then obviously the fluid's gotta come back into the reservoir. So these are just that simple. There's a hydraulic high pressure fitting on the bottom. I just went to the hydraulic store this morning and I got a banjo with a 90. I figured this is our best, most low profile like solution. This actually is a power steering bolt from a Nissan. I just had it in the bin, but you can get these at the hardware store. It's M16 by 1.5. Converted that to -6, like the line on a rack, and then our low pressure is just this little barb fitting right here, which is really nice. So we gotta make sure it's not so low that this is gonna be in the way of anything. But it's nice, since this is a contained system, you can mount it anywhere, right? Because we talk about where the reservoir has to be, because the reservoirs always have to be higher than the pump, so else you cavitate. But since the reservoir is built onto the pump, this thing could be, you can put it in the trunk if you want to. So she needs to land right about here, which gives enough room to fill. We're probably not gonna have to top this thing off like ever, which is good. We just need to have enough room to get away from the water lines, and we still have plenty of room to actually work on the engine now, which is huge. So how do we want to mount this? We know where this thing needs to land. It's gonna work out well for us. We just have to make a spot on the chassis that it actually bolts to. So we have this bracket right here. It'll attach right here, but we need it to be standoff just a hair to clear our existing components. So time to make a stand. A pedestal. Can I say that again? A pedestal. I looked, I thought you were done welding, so I looked and just got... You like that mask job? I'd say it's pretty good. Spits. Oh, God, this comes out fast. You would never know. All right, bracket on the pump. Dude, if you're doing this conversion, the Group D bracket is such a must.
That would have been an all-day thing just to make that bracket.
Oh, insane. So now we have this, and we now have the mounting point on the chassis, so the thing can be bolted in and out, which is massive. Because the clip that holds it all in, pain in the ass. So make the bracket removal, because if you gotta take this clip off every time you pull the pump off, you're gonna hate your life. So hopefully this all lines up still. She's mounted. It looks a little chaotic right now, but once we get everything together, it all makes sense. But I'm stoked with this. We have just enough room to get the cap off and to fill it up. If you want to, you can cut this down. I remember seeing on LZ's E36, they cut theirs down to like here, and this put like a slip-on grommet, and it was perfectly fine. So if we do have a pain in the ass topping this thing off, we could just cut it. But all right, I'd say this is the hard part, mounting it. That's the pain in the ass part. So she's mounted, she's good. We still, even though it does look busy, we still have all this room now. Before, like I couldn't even get my hand in here because of all the lines, everything. So I'm actually, it might not look like much, but this is completely life-changing for the car to have able to get my hands through here. So now it's time to hook her up. We got to wire it up and we got to plumb it up. So I think we're gonna start with plumbing first, because no one likes wiring. Sick. High pressure line. What's nice about it being on the driver's side is the line's gonna be super short, right? We got to go from the bottom of the pump to the rack, and we have a pile of high pressure lines laying around, and I think this one might just be perfect.
Thanks, Chase.
Thanks, Chase. Love you and your perfect set of hair. We got really lucky because look how perfect that line is. That's so sick. You could always order pre-made high pressure lines online. It's very easy. Make sure you use a high pressure line, and some guys try to make their high pressure line. I haven't had good luck with it, so just buy a pre-crimped one, please. Something, racing or something. For the low pressure, we're AN on the rack, but then we're barbed, so we're gonna just try and kind of slip this on and hose clamp it. It might look a little weird, but
It's low pressure. If it stays on, it stays on.
it stays on, it stays on. You could do 6 AN to barb and then run like a fuel line or a hydraulic line, but I am not stressed about that in this situation. Just like that. We got lines. It's actually really nice having it on this side because look how small those lines are. Super short, nice and easy. Still can get up and inside of here. So she's mounted, she's plumbed. If you got the lines, plumbing is very quick, but she's mounted, she's plumbed. Now it's time to wire it. So we got 4 wires to work with, not bad at all. Some are more complicated than others, but this one's nice and simple. So what we have is we have a power, we have a ground. So we're gonna put this to a constant high amperage source. So we're probably gonna go to our closest one, which can be our starter terminal. Then we got a ground, which luckily the entire chassis is grounded, right? So we're gonna put this somewhere to the chassis that's convenient. And then these will be we'll say our controller wires. And this, we're gonna wire to our chassis harness because we put a plug in to this because we knew I would eventually do this. And that plug's somewhere over here. So that will be nice and easy. So let's play some cable management. All right, boys, we got it wired up. So the 2 juicy wires, we got straight to battery source, which we're gonna use our starter as our battery source. And then we have it grounded to our chassis locally. Nice and close, keep things simple. And then we have our trigger wire, right? This is gonna be the wire that turns the pump on. This one's specific. Every pump's a little different. Now, most pumps are multiple wires. A lot of them have 3, which is gonna be basically a switch 12 to turn the pump on, and then 2 wires will be can high, can low, which you'll control the speed of them with can, which is cool because like if you have a street car and you want to be able to like make it so you don't have as light of power steering when you're going fast, like on the highway, like an OEM car, you could do that. Hook it up to your ECU, push all the right buttons, but most people like to keep it simple and they just add essentially 12-volt switch to their trigger wire, which there's a lot of good information online, whichever pump you have. And with that switch, kicks the pump on full tilt, and theoretically you have power steering. That easy, right? It's actually a lot simpler than you would expect. I think what strayed me away from electric power steering for so long is just ugly. Like it's ugly.
It's kind of hidden though. Back down there. Yeah.
Our pretty engine bay. Whatever, it's motorsports. You can always hide these. So a lot of street car guys, they'll put them in the trunk. You'll see that quite a bit, or they'll put it like under the dash or something. So it's a really good option if you don't have other options. So let's fill this thing up with fluid. We'll put 12 volts to this and test her out and see if we can get power steering with no leaks on this thing. And then from there, we'll wire it to the PDM so it's actually professional. I have no idea how much this takes. If I did this right, I should put these 2 wires to 12 volts and it should turn on. You nervous?
A little bit.
Yeah, look for leaks.
How quiet is it gonna be?
Not that quiet. All right. Sir, we have an issue here.
Here,
Oh.
Cable jumped off.
Oh, the power cable fell off. Yeah, that will do it. Can you clamp that back on for me? Try that again. Oh.
Here's something buzzing.
Oh, she gargling.
Oh, I forgot she winds up like a jet.
Yeah, it takes a couple seconds for it to start going. Oh.
It does wind up like a jet.
She's taking off. We got flight. Spoon, you want to do the honors? No leak so far, so that's good news. I'm so excited for power steering. Oh. Does it feel like power steering?
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
You just got some air.
Bleed the system out.
That's so sick. I would kind of hate to have one of these in the cab though if it was a street car.
Yeah, to hear that running all the time. It's cool, but it's so anticlimactic.
I know it is. Trust, like we'll put a strain gauge on the steering wheel so you guys can see. Trust us, that has power steering, which is huge. When we test drove this thing for the first time, had no power steering and it felt so just unfinished. Yeah. Power steering is a big system, it's exciting. How are we feeling?
Good, but I think that battery's not too happy.
No. So,
Oh yeah, you can tell the difference.
yeah, you can tell the difference now. I turned it off, right? Yeah, those brand new Heims are tight. So, this thing pulls a lot of amps, right? It's a little electric engine pushing a lot of PSI. So this is probably one of the moments where you're gonna have to probably upgrade your factory alternator. Most engines have like a high amp output factory style you could upgrade to. For us, we are now over that limit. So I had to order a fancy aftermarket alternator. But remember that in your street car. This thing draws a lot. Really, you just need a switch, right? You could put it on a switch 12, so when the key's on, the pump's on, you can put it on a physical switch. It's up to you. You just need to put switch 12 volts to these wires, which is really cool. Like, it'd be kind of nice to be able to use it with the car not running, so if you have to push the car around the pits and stuff like that, having power steering is really nice, or if you have to test something. So we're gonna do the right thing and hook this up to our PDM, since we have that. So let's get this plugged in and get the PDM set up and get this thing on a switch.
A few moments later.
All right, she's back on the ground. She's back together. We're a new alternator and a catch can. I guess we don't need a catch can away from getting this thing on the dyno, which is absolutely massive. Like we were just talking about it, how like it feels like, I don't know if I'm mentally prepared for this thing to be on the dyno. Really close. Like just knowing the power steering system stuff and everything is all finalized and good, the wiring, everything, it feels so good. So crazy thing I just realized is Spoon has never heard this thing run in person, which is pretty nuts. So let's give him a taste. You haven't heard how ridiculous this thing sounds.
I haven't heard this thing at all.
You're gonna be so surprised at how snappy it is. That's the craziest part about it.
Why?
No, just wait. Isn't it crazy how snappy it is? Go on the back.
Good bitch. 5 hours.
You smell it? An E85R, that's a Noco E85R, burns so good. But right now, we don't have an alternator on it, so the voltage is low. We're missing like 3 volts, which is gonna be a lot of power steering power, but we'll get a feel for it.
That's so sick, isn't it? Horny.
Oh, the tranny wind.
Race car.
Crazy to actually be able to drive with power steering because it makes it feel like a complete car, you know? It's good. Like right now it actually feels pretty good even though we're missing like, right now we're only at 11 volts, so we'll get 3 more volts out of it, which should help kind of like dial it in a little bit, but it feels really good. That clunk is just everything. Oh. And then hearing the whine.
Yeah, the tranny wind.
Oh. Like, this is so nice. Different, right? So nice to have power steering. really impressed because
For being full race car, it doesn't feel really race car either.
it's not too bad. It's not too clunky, no. I've driven cars with electric power steering before, and it almost feels like there's a sponge between you and the wheels. Like even just driving around, but this doesn't feel like that, which is huge. That's what I was worried about. This thing's so freaking cool.
It's a car now.
It's a car now.
Oh shit!
It is so close. That is, I can't imagine like the first time just, you know, like. One thing I forgot to mention early on, which I'll probably get a million comments about, is going to be using an electric column, right? We talked a lot about the electric power steering pump, but a big thing these days is actually using an electric column where the power, the force is actually coming from a motor in the column that will then mechanically drive the rest of the system. Those I think are such a great option for street cars because they're clean, they're hidden, keeps things simple, and they're quiet. I don't know if I'm sold with them on drift cars yet because if you think about it, that's a lot of mechanical force.
Well, then you still have to deal with the rack.
Yeah, you have to, exactly, because now you're overcoming a rack that was most likely meant for power steering, and now all of that load is transitioned into the steering shaft, into the rack itself, versus it being a hydraulic force where all of that load is basically just on the tie rods. People have made it work. We'll see if they get it dialed in, but for now, for a drift car, electric power steering pump, what a great option. And these things are supposed to be super stout and supposed to really last. So shout out to the European boys for figuring that out with the Opal pump. I know James Dean did a lot of tests with the Opal pump, so I feel good about it. But cool. Get that new alternator, get that belt on, change the oil. Let's get this thing
check.
Bolt check. Dyno, I can't wait to hear this thing making some boost. Alignment, and we test it. Oh, yeah.
For being a full race car, it doesn't feel so race car-y on the inside. Like it's not vibrating, it's not clunky, it's not like you hear the whine, but it's solid.
The handbrake works. We got ourselves a race car. Now it's time to get it on the dyno and have some fun with it. But for now, huge progress. Super pumped on the electric power steering. Obviously, I'll make my final call when we test it, but I have some good faith in this. And well, it definitely opened my eyes a little bit more to it because I've definitely been a little ignorant to it, purely because it's been so ugly.
You can't even see it right now.
I know, but it's in this setup. I mean, to me, this car, like, it just looks like a race car, right? And that's just another piece of it that kind of adds to the war, I guess. Whatever. But if you guys want to get into it yourself, of course, the Group D option, the Opal pump, is a really, really good option. I know it might seem a little weird because it's foreign and you can get a Volvo pump at your local junkyard, but I really like the fit and finish of this pump and how it mounts, and even how the lines run compared to the other power steering pumps I've seen. And being able to buy an off-the-shelf really compact bracket like that from the boys, it seems really worth it. So we'll put the link in the description, check it out. It's actually very surprisingly affordable, even with the shipping, and it'll get you and your car ready to rock if you're drifting it, if you're putting on a street car, or if you're going to a sideshow. Just kidding, don't do that. Get the hell out of the car scene. Do not do that. But for now, you guys know the deal. Like, comment, subscribe. Stay tuned for more content. We'll see you guys very shortly.